Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Kimi ga Nozomu Eien discussion series. And today, we're going to be talking about Suzumiya Akane's Chapter 2 route. So, this route has 4 endings. So we firstly got the true ending and also the Haruka pregnancy ending. And I think those endings were really quite good. But then we have the 2 bad endings. I really didn't like those. So overall, I think it's definitely a mixed bag, this route, but the good parts in it are really quite good. So yeah, let's get discussing. So I kind of read this route in terms of the order of its endings. So yeah, I did the Haruka pregnancy ending here, which you can see from this CG. And yeah, basically this route is kind of like Haruka's route. It's got exactly the same beginning content, but then obviously, I think it's August the 10th. I don't know. It's the day after Akane's disaster swimming tournament, and then obviously everything going wrong, her going to the hospital, even after how horrible she feels, and then just not being able to, just totally feeling sick and I think she even had a fever as well, just because of how bad she felt. And then we offer to take her home the day after, and that's kind of how the route begins. But yeah, it was always kind of a question for me. Whenever I saw how horrible Akane was to Takayuki and Mitsuki as well, of course, I was always finding it really hard to believe that she could actually get into a relationship with Takayuki, but I suppose this route shows how that is possible. And ultimately, let's be honest, the only reason that this was able to happen was because Takayuki is a really kind person, let's be honest here. And yeah. I suppose also Akane realizes just how much we care about Haruka, hence the fact that this is stemming from Haruka's route. But yeah, it's just also that scene where Takayuki is obviously looking over Akane in the hospital bed and just really finding it hard to get over Haruka. And yeah, I'll never forget that scene where he's just kind of holding her hand and basically crying as a result of not being able to get over anything really. That scene in particular, I think that's what kind of was good for making them connect. But yeah. Anyway, let's discuss about this. I love what I put here. I love that I'm trying to do a serious discussion and yet I just have this in my channel post. But yeah, anyway. So we've got the pregnancy ending first. Basically, Akane helps us when we are feeling awful. I think we actually get Akane's cold, we get a total fever, and that fever is made so much worse by the constant stress that Takayuki is feeling in his daily life. And also, yeah, just the question about everything going more distant with Mitsuki, whether you tell Haruka about Mitsuki or not, and yeah, all of that is just making him feel so much worse. Akane does this instead of Mitsuki though, it's so weird. But yeah, then we just kind of get more close to Akane, and then yeah, we don't invite Mitsuki on the 13th, and then we do, and then Takayuki is very, very irresponsible with Haruka in terms of the fact that they literally have sex, which is quite surprising, but yeah, it's that irresponsibility that kind of caused this whole ending to happen. It really was the worst case scenario because Haruka was ultimately happy, and then she just never woke up again in this route. If I'm going to be honest, one of my problems with this route is the fact that Haruka doesn't wake up, but it's never really explained why Haruka doesn't wake up in that route, yet in every other route she wakes up a few days after some sort of shock happens on the 13th. I don't like that. But what I do like in this ending was just the extreme dilemma of Takayuki and him just finding everything so difficult. Yeah, Akane's obviously worried about him, but he's just not telling anything to her just because Well, I mean, I think it's very understandable. How would anybody be able to react in a composed way after realizing what has happened? And oh, that's not Kimi Nozzle. um, but yeah, my God, it's just it's a very complicated route, and my God, you just see in scenes like this him probably returning to how he was 3 years ago, but just finding it really hard to cope. And it's interesting how Akane kind of develops in this, because obviously Akane starts to fall for Takayuki, and then because Takayuki he's finding it so hard, she kind of pretends to be Haruka just so that he doesn't feel grief. I found that a very unusual concept. This CG is just kind of cursed. It does look really weird, but yeah, I had fun. I had fun in this ending. And then yeah, so what happened in the pregnancy ending with Haruka was basically we avoided the disaster that would have happened if we invited Mitsuki. If we invited Mitsuki to see Haruka on the 13th. Because ultimately, Akane has had feelings that are developing for Takayuki. She's finding it really hard to cope. And then, is this... Oh, right, yeah, so, yeah, this is kind of the next part of the plot that I want to talk about. So, you just see that... I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I think Takayuki was a bit of an idiot in that scene where he had the flowers that he really, really had fun with Akane just going to get, and obviously was going to surprise Haruka with them. And obviously, it was a complete surprise with which flowers they'd be. But then Mitsuki does them, so everything that Takayuki's meant to do, Mitsuki does. And I mean, he should have just been more considerate of what Akane was feeling and how much she hated Mitsuki, but no, he was quite ridiculous, and then Akane just couldn't take it anymore, so she completely confesses, and then obviously this is kind of the beginning of her becoming a complete fucking wreck. But yeah, so we see oh wait hang on a second. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so next we're gonna have the parts which are, I think they are really quite well done. You've got the guilt of Akane. You've got that scene where she's just, I mean, she's just giving up her whole life, and she's kind of more progressing to become like Mitsuki as well. Just, I mean, the funny thing is just the fact that it's exactly like her situation is basically a parallel of Mitsuki's. They're both swimmers. They see how difficult of a situation Takayuki's in, and they themselves are in, and they would think of throwing away everything just for love, basically. And yeah, it's just really quite surprising how much they parallel, really. But yeah, ultimately, it's a really difficult ending, and you just see a lot. Another theme that's really common in this ending that I've actually found more common in this route compared to any other route is the fact that Takayuki skips work so much more just because of how difficult everything is. Which I mean, it's not surprising, but it's just interesting. And yeah, we even have Mitsuki becoming quite understood by Akane. This is definitely not, neither is this. But yeah, this scene as well. Yeah, and it's interesting. Akane feels total guilt about betraying her sister, and she just really tries her hardest just to kind of restrain her feelings for Takayuki, which it must be horrible. It really must be. But yeah, that only happens for so long because she just can't cope, genuinely. And I like what I put on my notes. Yeah, she's basically torturing herself because she feels like she's betraying her sister. Yeah. Oh yeah, and also the scene where they they're just talking about going to the beach, Haruka and Takayuki, and yet Akane just can't keep her composure. She just genuinely cries, and then she just runs out. But it is interesting in this route. If you introduce love into the equation for Akane, just everything becomes so much more complicated. Like in Haruka and Mitsuki's route, she's able to keep herself controlled, even though obviously you can tell that she's incredibly damaged by everything that has happened. But God, not here, no way, not here. I just think it's funny that you see Takayuki is still with Mitsuki. His feelings with Akane are definitely becoming stronger, and yeah, it's just it's now another thing that's more tricky. Like, I can't exactly remember if he had told. No. Yeah, of course, because I think then there was a tricky part about him needing to tell Haruka what has happened with Mitsuki, but also at the same time needing to break up with Mitsuki because they're just growing more apart, and they just don't. Well, they're just becoming more distant because of his feelings for Akane, and also the situation as well. Spoiler for Homida's route, but what I find really interesting is probably another reason why they're becoming so distanced is because Mitsuki is just kind of in the shadow of Haruka, and I mean so is Akane as well. But what I'm trying to say is the relationship between Takayuki and Mitsuki is just so complicated by Haruka, and that's why it's just not working. But yeah, that scene where Mitsuki kind of forces herself on Takayuki as well. She's not aware of the fact that he's dating Akane as well. And yeah, the anime. And then this is kind of the part, oh yeah, oh god, we've got to talk about it eventually, the coma ending. But before we talk about that, actually, I just wanted to mention about Mitsuki. I think it was really interesting in the pregnancy ending, just her breakup and how she was so pissed off, and also her going really quite far, saying that it would be better if Haruka never woke up. I mean, things like those, you can think them, but I don't know if you should have said that out loud. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Akane coma ending. Oh my god, I did not like that ending at all because, well, I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I never really liked Haruka's accident the most because, firstly, we don't really see anything about the driver who actually caused it. I mean, at least in everything I've read. If there is something about that in other parts of the story, then forget what I'm saying now. But yeah, I also like I said in the Haruka pregnancy ending, I don't really like the fact that she never woke up whatsoever, didn't really get an explanation. But I mean, I feel like you can do something that has had luck. Well, you can have an event that is just so rare in terms of how bad the luck is, but you can only do that once. Why did they think that doing that for Akane was a good idea? That ending was just kind of painful, seriously. I did not like that ending at all. I really, really didn't. No. But, yeah, if we do choose to go to the hospital when it's raining and we do choose to see Haruka, then obviously this is all kind of prevented. And then we kind of have the last part here. So the first part, Haruka affair ending, the concept, in my opinion, is really quite good. In the sense that Haruka just can't deal with the fact that Akane loves Takayuki. So obviously it's kind of like Mitsuki's bad ending in the sense that she will try and be with him even though she knows it's never going to work. But oh my god, it's just how it was executed that kind of pissed me off. Yeah, if you guys remember the H scene, just think about how unrealistic that H scene was. Basically, and the reason why I think it's unrealistic is Haruka's never had sex. Well, no, she's like kind of had sex once, and then everything that happens in that ending happens with no hesitation whatsoever. I mean, I won't go into it because, yeah, I don't really want to say that stuff out loud. But yeah, you should be able to see what I mean. Yeah, like I said, I like the concept, but I don't like how it was pulled off. The true ending, though, is really quite cool. The breakup scene with Mitsuki, I like that. I really enjoyed reading that. And yeah, Takayuki getting the courage to tell Haruka the actual feelings that he has, and obviously falling in love with Akane. And in the end, Haruka actually understanding and really being able to move forward. It's just kind of the main premise of Kimi Nozo, really. I mean, he's just so scared about hurting other people when he decides something that in the end, most of the time, he just delays things and gets himself into even more complicated situations. So, obviously, him actually telling Haruka is the best thing. It's the best thing he could have done. And I really like just how good of a person Takayuki became in this ending. I think he's definitely become the most respectable in an ending like this. If I'm going to be honest though, spoilers for Homura's route, but in the pure love ending, yeah, not the Manami ending. I will never ever get those endings confused. Oh my god, don't even. But yeah, in the pure love ending, I think Takayuki is also a really respectable person. I think in this ending and the pure love ending, he's quite similar in terms of how respectful he is. But yeah, anyway, that was Akane's route, and in the end, I thought that was a really quite interesting read. I think it definitely could have been a little bit better. One of my problems with the Akane route was, I mean, we went after we fully decided to fall in love with Akane. We didn't really see much after, unlike kind of the Haruka and Mitsuki routes. I mean, obviously, I get that Chapter 3's sole purpose is for seeing the aftermath of everything, but I just kind of wish we had more. Like we did in Mitsuki's route. The only thing we really had was seeing Haruka get discharged, which was quite nice. But yeah, and I like the part of the CG that shows that Haruka has kind of accepted everything. She's not fallen out with Akane and stuff like that. But like she's not fallen out with Akane because of the fact that she's fallen in love with Takayuki. That's what I meant to say there. But yeah, anyway, that is everything I wanted to talk about in Akane's route. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time when we discuss Homura's route. One ending which is a fucking train wreck, and the other ending which is the opposite. Yeah, see you guys then.